Imagine this. It's 1972. You finish your advertising job at 6 p.m., rush to perform Jesus Christ Superstar covered in fake blood, cab it to the Taj to perform psychedelic music till 1 a.m. This is the story of Atomic Forest, and it begins with three different lives. Hello, everybody. My name is Suraj Rajan, and on this channel, we dig into the stories of music and artists that shaped everything that we listen to today. Let's rewind the tape. Madhukar Dhas, aka Madhu as he liked to be called, was raised in a conservative family in Madras. His father always wanted him to be an accountant or an engineer. Madhu had different interests. Every Saturday night, he would sneak into his friend's room to listen to Elvis and UK rock at the lowest possible volume. In the common room of the hostel, when Twist and Shout was played by the Beatles, other boys would knock the needle off and laugh at him. His friend Sukumar Nambiar, one of his first friends in school, and also somebody who introduced him to rock music of that era. Both of them would later be founders of the band The Voodoos and perform at different venues in Madras. On contrast with that, we had Neel Chattopadhyaya. Neel Chattopadhyaya had support in his family. His elder brother Rom would gift him his first electric guitar. He even dropped out of high school to pursue music full time. His mother, Kamala Devi Chattopadhyaya, would listen to Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and she realized Neel was an artist in the making. In 1972, the lineup forms. Neel Chattopadhyaya on lead guitars, Keith Kanga on bass, Madhu on vocals, and Valentine Lobo on drums. They were loud, blues heavy, psychedelic. They would perform at prominent clubs and discos of that time in Bombay. Slip Disc, Blow Up, and Hotel Hilltop. They were influenced by the likes of the Allman Brothers Band. Obsession 77 was recorded at a time when audiences were getting introduced to the likes of Pink Floyd and Rolling Stones by the covers that resembled. The album included covers of Jimi Hendrix, Deep Purple, and Beatles, as well as their own branded original psychedelic rock. Now remember, this is early 70s India. Music was hard to access. Equipment was expensive. There was no real rock industry. So how did they fund this? That's where Keith Kanga comes in. Keith Kanga had lost both of his parents very early in his life. He was raised by his grandmother, remembered as Grana by his friends. They lived at Johnny Castle, a crumbling South Mumbai mansion. And this is the part that sounds like fiction. His grandmother ran a brothel from the same building. She would lie on her bed reading Rolling Stones with a magnifying glass. She took care of Keith Baba, as she called him, through everything. If he wanted a Marshall amp, somehow it was there the next day. If the band needed a place to rehearse, Johnny Castle became the headquarters. In between all this, there was a darker layer. Keith was obsessed with drugs to the point where most of the money the band earned, he would blow it on drugs. They would rarely get paid. Equipment was rented out without telling the band. There was brilliance and self-destruction happening at the same time. The band once performed at this festival called Sneha Yatra in Pune at Malwali. Malwali is a hill station. Note, hill stations get super cold at night. The band got on stage at 1 a.m. They were half frozen, but once they were on stage, they were on fire. Madhu recalls it as a pseudo psychedelic scene with people throwing peace signs and smoking up as much as they could. It is considered to be one of the most memorable performances by Atomic Forest, and also that laid foundation for them in the coming years. Atomic Forest didn't have a fixed lineup. Over time, musicians passed through the band. Fred Mandrix, who was the founder of Human Bondage, would be the lead guitarist of the band for a brief amount of time. Nandu Bhende, who would later record with Leslie Lewis, was also part of Atomic Forest, along with Abraham Maman, Roy Venkatram, and Keith Vegas. The band kept evolving, but so did the instability. There were small feuds happening within the band as they kept performing. They had a contract with Slip Disc as nightly performers. One night, Neel decided to take speed, and to slow him down, he followed it by Mandrax. Neel Chattopadhyaya, who was known as Jimi Hendrix of India, was so zoned out that night that he forgot to play his solo on stage. Looking at this, Keith had to firmly remind him out loud to play his part on stage. Neel reacted in a way which is talked about even today by the musicians of that time. Neil slapped Keith and his false teeth went across the hall. One of those nights, two gentlemen walked in slip disc. Those gentlemen were Robert Plant and Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. Madhu and the band were so shocked and so surprised to see them. Madhu even spoke to Robert Plant, and Robert Plant asked him, "What do you do?" To which Madhu replied, "We try to copy you." Robert Plant didn't seem all that impressed by that answer. Madhu was forced to sing Honky Tonky Woman on stage in front of Plant and Page, to which he remembers clearly Robert Plant gave him a thumbs up for that performance. They jammed, they hung out. There was even a tape recorded of their performance, but in true Atomic Forest's fashion, it disappeared. Eventually, the chaos caught up. Money, addiction, broken trust, everything came at a place where it wasn't just working out for them anymore. Keith Kanga lost his battle to addiction in the early 80s and he passed away. Bands like the Voodoos, Human Bondage, Atomic Forest weren't trying to sound Western. They were figuring it out in their own way. Sure, you could hear bits of Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Pink Floyd in there, but it wasn't imitation, it was translation. Imagine this: distorted guitars running through questionable amps, power cuts mid rehearsals, someone trying to stretch a solo just a little longer because it felt right. In between all this, you would find a phrasing that felt unmistakably Indian. Psychedelic jams happening under disco balls in hotel ballrooms, while someone's aunt is still requesting a Hindi song in the corner. That contrast is kind of beautiful. What makes 70s really special is how underground it all was. There were no Instagram reels, no YouTube archives, no proper recordings. All of that survives in stories now. I was there that night. I've seen this band live. I remember how good they were. That is how it's remembered. It feels mythical. And the choice to play English rock, that wasn't a career move. Film music ruled everything. Rock wasn't lucrative, it wasn't safe, and it definitely wasn't mainstream. They did it because they loved it. Something about plugging in a guitar and turning it up felt honest. All the alternative bands, all the indie artists who are there today trying to do their own thing. This is rooted back 50 years, where these guys laid the foundation for us. Wasn't mainstream, wasn't big. They did it because they loved it. Where is Atomic Forest now? Madhu moved to the US in 1978, worked with several ad agencies of his time. He also pursued his musical interest meanwhile, released couple of albums under his name. One of his albums was named To the Fab Four from Liverpool, a tribute from India, which released in 2004. He unfortunately passed away a couple of years back in 2024. He was in Philadelphia, USA. He was 74. Neel Chattopadhyaya lives in Goa with his family now. I don't know if he still plays music or not. I would really be hurt if he doesn't anymore. There is very little I could find about his current life. I really hope the Jimi Hendrix of India casually picks up his guitar every now and then and shreds it, for old time's sake. About Valentine Lobo, there's hardly any information online about him. If any of you know anything about him, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know more about him. All I know that he was an exceptional drummer, a warm human being, and witty with his sense of humor. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I will be putting more content out like this because I love music history of India and music history in general. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.